So we just finished up Doors Week, and if you didn't get a chance to check out those videos, I suggest it. We ranked all the albums, the studio albums up from the Doors, and then a second video, we kind of wrap things up talking about live albums and compilations and all that stuff. It's kind of done with it, but I don't know, I was still feeling the Doors vibe, and had some good discussions going on, in the comments sections of those Doors videos. So I figured let's keep going with it. At least one more video. And I'd started this series a little earlier, kind of ranking songs. We did the Van Morrison, and that was kind of fun. So let's look at some Doors songs. I think that's what we're gonna do. So even though I said before we were kind of wrapped up with Doors Week, I lied. We're gonna keep going. Hey guys, welcome to Amity Tracks, and we're gonna talk about Doors songs. So yeah, if you've watched this channel for a while, we usually focus on albums. But I've started a recent series where we were doing songs here. So I got 20. Let's do the top 20 Doors song, or at least that's my favorite 20 Doors songs. Got to make that clear. And then at the end, just for fun, I'll throw in my least favorite Doors songs. I got a couple of those too. So at number 20. If you guys remember, in the last video, those of you who watched the Doors videos, I talked for a while about how I really dislike live Doors. I just don't think they were great live, or at least the recordings we have, that were released, don't show that. So I'm going to start with a live song. Okay, right? So it is the only live song in my list, though, and it's at number 20. But I really do like this one. And it's from this album that I don't like at all either. Absolutely Live. I think it's pretty bad. But I love the opener. Their cover of Who Do You Love? The Bo Diddley song. I just think that rocks. And most of it's due to Robbie Krieger, man. Well, John Densmore lays down that awesome Bo Diddley beat. Kind of keeps it going. But man, Robbie Krieger, he's on the slide guitar, and it's just, it's so tasty. It's awesome. And live Jim Morrison can't even screw that one up. So that one's great. All right. There you go. So number 19. Now, number 19, kind of a deep cut. I think you're going to see, I don't know, I think I've got a decent mix of some obvious ones, but also some deep cuts. But number 19, I would definitely call a deep cut. I've always loved it. And again, a lot of it's the guitar work. I really like the kind of strummed chords in the beginning. It's got a different feel than almost every other Doors song I've heard. It's from the final record with Morrison, and the 6 records that are kind of canon. But Hyacinth House. I've always really liked Hyacinth House. I think Morrison sings it real nicely. It's a little, he's pretty gruff on a lot of these songs because, his voice is grittier, but on that one, I think he still sings it pretty smooth. And I don't know. I just really like like I said, that guitar part is nice. Nice. All right. Let's see here. I got to move these because I'm going to have to be grabbing these records again and again. All right. So number 18, 17, and 16 are all from the same album. And if you watched my ranking of the records, you know that I really dig this album. You saw where it landed in my rankings. But yeah, all 3 of these songs come from this record, and they're from Morrison Hotel. So 18 and 17 kind of go together because it's the 2 closing tracks. So I think with Morrison Hotel, I think the side 1 is pretty perfect. I mean, it's just awesome. I love side 1. Side 2 starts off. I think the weakest part of this record is kind of the front half of side 2 with Land Ho. I think Land Ho is the worst song on here, but I'm not gonna talk about my least favorite songs. I think Land Ho's all right. Man, that's the worst song on there. but I think it closes really strong. So at number 18, I have the closer, Maggie McGill. Great bass work from Lonnie Mack, actually. If you look on the credits here, Lonnie Mack plays bass on Roadhouse Blues and Maggie McGill. Love the bass line in that song. Yeah, if I remember right, the lyrics basically talk about a groupie. I don't know. That's I seem to remember. Maybe I'm totally off. I don't remember. But honestly, the Doors, I pay a lot more attention to the music than I do actually Morrison's lyrics. So, but yeah, and then at number 17, I've got the song, the penultimate song, the song that comes right before the last song, Indian Summer. I just think Indian Summer is, it's one of their most beautiful songs. Just uh, that mood on it, it's just dreamy. It's really dreamy, but it really is. You kind of, if you can kind of get into that song, it just takes you away. I've always thought the song was beautiful. And then my number 16, going back to side one, is the second song on this album, is Waiting for the Sun. Right now, they have an album called Waiting for the Sun, but the song Waiting for the Sun is not on Waiting for the Sun. Waiting for the Sun is on Morrison Hotel. So I always really like that song, that real heavy kind of, call it synthesizer, but that keyboard part and kind of in the chorus. But then the verses kind of alternate again with some great slide from Robbie. Yeah. So there you go. I love this album if you watch the ranking. So not surprisingly, I got a chunk of songs off of this album and my favorite songs here. All right. So um let's see. Coming in at number 15. Sorry, I'd moved some stuff around on my list here and I had some arrows going, so I was trying to figure out where I was. Yeah, so coming in at number 15 is where we are. Another summer song. So we had Indian Summer, but then another kind of dreamy summer song, and that would be Summer's Almost Gone, which was on Waiting for the Sun. Now I'm going to tell you at the outset, that is the only song that I have in my list off of Waiting for the Sun, which I don't love this record as much as some of the others, as you saw in my rankings. But yeah, Summer's Almost Gone. I again, a beautiful mood song. Love kind of the flowing bass in there from, I believe, from Ray Manzarek. Unless they actually, yeah, I think that was Manzarek doing that one. Anyway, I'm not for sure. Interesting thing about that song, that they had that song early. That they had that song when they were recording the debut, but for whatever reason, it kind of kept getting pushed off. And then when they needed to fill this record after they dumped Celebration of the Lizard, I think they probably reached back and grabbed that one. But it turns out to be my favorite song on here. So yeah. All right. Number 14. Now I forgot who, but someone in the comments on one of our previous Doors videos talked about this song, and they thought it was sort of one of the most underrated songs in their catalog. And I guess I have to agree because I've got it at my 14th favorite Doors song, and Shamans Blues or Shaman, whatever. Shamans Blues off of Soft Parade. That I agree. I think that is a very underrated song. Um, Again, I kind of like the bass going in that song. I like Morrison's lyrics on there. I'll double check. Yeah, okay, he's credited on that one. This was I mentioned this in that video. This was the album where, I think, the only album, I think, where they separate the credits individually. So, but yeah, that's a Morrison song. Anyway, great song. All right, so that's bringing us down to number uh, 13, which is going back to L.A. Woman here, and I've got Been Down So Long. Just hey, yeah, I mentioned when I was reviewing this record, just how weary Morrison sounds, and it's Been Down. Oh, it's just so gritty, and it's kind of a straight blues, but love it, love it. How he delivers those, especially those opening lines. It's just, grit, the phlegm in his voice is perfect for that song. It really is. All right. Now flipping back here to the Soft Parade. I've got one which is credited actually to Robbie Krieger. Um, I've always, I guess, another underrated one. I never hear anyone praise this song. I've always really, I don't know. I kind of like, I like the strings in it. People, one of the things that people knock on this record, the strings and the horns and all that. I think it doesn't work on some of these songs, but on this one, I think the strings are quite beautiful. It's Wishful Sinful. I've always thought that was an underrated, kind of beautiful Doors song. Okay, coming in number 11. Is that where we're at? Yeah, number 11. Going to the second record, and I'm going with People Are Strange. It's one of the better known songs off of here. It's one of the tunes that shows up on all the compilations, but yeah, rightfully so. Again, great guitar line from Robbie Krieger, fantastic lyrics from Jim Morrison. I think that is one where he does some great lyrics. Actually, they're all awesome on that. That song just comes together totally, all of them. Great song. Again, one of their better known ones, but deservedly so, I say. All right, that was 11. So skipping down here, so the top 10. Here we are at number 10, and here's the first tune off of the debut in my list here, and that would be Soul Kitchen. Just that one's all about the groove, that bass, which I think on that one is Ray Manzarek doing double duty on the keyboards and the bass. Whether he's doing it with pedals or another hand, I don't know, but that one's got the great groove. And at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it doesn't wear out its welcome for me as much as when the music's over, which I think has a similar groove to it, but is 11 minutes, off of their second record. Yeah, Soul Kitchen, man, it's just the groove on that. All right, coming in at number 9, going back to Strange Days, I'm going to pick what I think was their very first song from. I've read a lot on the Doors and Morrison's biography and all that stuff, and there is that famous recounted scene, often recounted, where Morrison and Ray Manzarek are walking along the beach, on Venice Beach in Los Angeles, and Jim, there's a poem at this point, but recites the words to Moonlight Drive, which ended up on the second record. And that was when Manzarek was like, "We got to have a band. We got the Doors were born." If you believe the story. Um, Interesting that they have that song from the very beginning. It didn't even end up on the debut, and it's a great song. It's a highlight on the second record. Oh, some great slide guitar on that too. All right, number 8. Going back to Soft Parade. Funny enough, yeah, it's a little surprising. I've got several Soft Parade songs on here. I don't know, I'm just thinking about where I ranked it in my rankings. Maybe I should have flipped one or two of them. Anyway, Touch Me, the hit single. Oftentimes the only song from here that shows up on comps. But I think it's a killer song. It is the song where the strings and the horns work the best, with this approach on here. And it's just a killer single. Again, credited to Robbie Krieger, not Jim Morrison. All right. Number 7, I am going with, let's see. Yeah, I was kind of bashing the epic closer a little bit on Strange Days, but here at number 8 or 7, I do have the epic closer on the debut, The End. Jim Morrison's, Oedipus, fueled fantasies. I don't have it on here for the lyrics. I can sometimes these lyrics I think are pretty cool. Sometimes I think they're kind of silly. Depends on my mood. Now I have it on here all because of the music. I think it is a mesmerizing, hypnotic groove on there, and I just love how the other three, Krieger, Densmore, and Manzarek, just musically take that song all kinds of tempos and strength and then pulling back, and just musically, I think it is stunning, stunning. And Morrison's lyrics, sometimes I can appreciate them, sometimes I don't. All right, number 6, I have the title track of their final record, "L.A. Woman." Stunner. That one almost 8 minutes long, and just a beautiful, I don't know, tribute, however you want to call it, to the underside of their hometown of Los Angeles. I've got the famous Mr. Mojo Rising, in the middle there. Um, yeah, L.A. Woman, love it. Love that whatever that guitar, however Robbie gets that very, that first thing you hear, that guitar thing, it almost sounds like a car revving up. It's awesome. All right, number 5. Got to go back to the debut here, and that would be their cover of Willie Dixon's. Well, Willie Dixon wrote it, but made famous by actually it's credited here to both. I think Willie Dixon wrote that, but made famous by Howlin' Wolf. Backdoor Man. Backdoor Man. I always love that song. That little yelp Jim Morrison gives at the beginning is just fantastic. The reason I've always loved that, because it's blues, but it's Doors blues. It's and what I always say about, if you're doing covers, make it your own. And they definitely, that doesn't sound like Howlin' Wolf, but it's still identifiable as that song. And it's cool. It's cool. So they Doorsify it, but it's still a great, great cover. So I love how they do that. All right. Going back to Morrison Hotel for my number 4, I've got Peace Frog. And again, it's Robbie Krieger. That guitar play, that guitar rhythm is just so it opens the song, and it's just, that's what holds me to it the whole song. I love that guitar rhythm from Robbie Krieger. It's just just awesome. Yeah, and again, you've got some lyrics from Jim Morrison that I could take or leave depending on my mood. Sometimes I think they're pretty evocative. You know, blood on the streets up to my ankles, and then the knees, and sometimes I think they're kind of silly, but just depends on the mood, I guess. But man, the band is just cooking on that song. I like that it's short too. It just hits you and then it's done. It's like it's slightly under 3 minutes, but man, I could go with that groove for another 3 minutes. Oh, I guess we'll just stay with Morrison Hotel, because here's my number 3 song is from here again. That would be the opener, Roadhouse Blues. Love Roadhouse Blues. It's just gritty blues rock of the highest order. Now, on that one, Jim Morrison does sound awesome. Great lyrics. Great. Robbie Krieger's guitar playing, of course, again, at the forefront. But just a great song all around. And that's the other song on here where Lonnie Mack plays the bass, Roadhouse Blues. Great bass line on there. Yeah, just, and especially, coming on the heels of this record, with all the strings and the horns, and a lot of people are like, what are they doing? And it's like, no, here's where we are now. And it's just, it's worthy of ZZ Top, just gritty blues rock. So good, so good. My number two would be the final song, real song, that we got to hear from the original quartet. So, because it's the closer on L.A. Woman. That's, of course, the other kind of, mid-length epic on here, Riders on the Storm. A lot of that is the bass line on there. I guess that's Jerry Sheff playing bass mostly on this one. That bass line is so good, but also Ray Manzarek's those jazz improvisation on there. Was it Bruce Botnick? I remember reading Bruce Botnick, who co-produced this with the Doors. Didn't like that. If I remember right, I think it was him. Like, didn't like the song at all. Like, thought it was like Cocktail Lounge. And I was totally off on that. I think that song is mesmerizing. It's such actually, to me, some of Jim Morrison's best lyrics, actually, too. I really like the lyrics on that song. Love Riders on the Storm. All right. My number one, my favorite Doors song. I wish I could go obscure. I wish I could, you know, I don't know, it'd be kind of cooler if I was like, oh yeah, this B-side you've never heard. But no, I'm gonna go with the most obvious song I can go with. It's the song, it's their biggest hit, I think. No, it's not. It's actually not their highest charting song, but it's the song that I think people associate with them the most, now over time. Uh, yeah, sorry to be obvious, but I still think this is one of the greatest songs ever. From the debut, Light My Fire. Yeah. And to be clear, the full length, almost 7-minute version of that song, I hate the single cut because it cuts out my favorite parts of the song. My favorite parts of the song, I mean, Morrison's part's fine, but my favorite parts of the song are the solos. Ray Manzarick's solo and then Robbie Krieger's solo. That's, for me, it's that lengthy instrumental middle part that puts this song where it is for me, because I mean, again, it's kind of mesmerizing bass part, which I think that one was played by Ray Manzarek on the keyboards. I don't think they got a bass player on that. I could be wrong. Because sometimes they would use a bass player on their records and not credit it. I don't see anything credited here, but yeah, just those solos, I mean, are some of my favorite solo, both keyboard and then guitar, that I've ever heard. I mean, it's not that they're so technical. It's just they're just right there, just right in the groove, and so awesome. Yeah, I know that's such a generic pick, but man, I can crank that still and just really lost in it and excited about it. So there you go. Those are my top 20 Doors songs. So in the comments, let loose. What are your favorite Doors songs? But before I leave you, I thought it would be kind of fun. I can give you maybe 3 of my least favorite. If we're going to give you my favorites, it's fun to talk about what you don't like. Sometimes it's even more fun to talk about. Well, I got one. I gotta grab these records here. I am gonna go back to Absolutely Live and the almost side. Well, now there's Soul Kitchens on there too, but it takes up much of side 4, which is their sprawling, drunken on Jim Morrison's part, just incoherent version of their Celebration of the Lizard. Awful. 2 more. Is this really one of my least favorite songs? I don't know, but I don't like it very much at all. And it was their biggest hit if you're looking at the charts, because it hit number 1, and it is Hello, I Love You. I think Hello, I Love You is just sort of a trifle, and they ripped off the Kinks. So, yeah, not a big fan of Hello, I Love You. And then finally, I'm going to pick one more. Let me find the record here. I mean, I guess I got to go with Horse Latitudes off the second record. It's only a minute and a half, so it doesn't, at least it doesn't wear out its welcome too much. Yeah, I appreciate the boldness of the track, because it's just Jim Morrison basically shouting his poetry over sound effects, But it's a minute and a half, and I'm always happy when it's over and we can get to Moonlight Drive. Let's put it that way. I've never been a fan of Horse Latitudes. All right, guys. So like I said, in the comments, your favorite, go ahead and throw your least favorite on there too. That's fun. But your favorite Doors songs. Let's keep the Doors vibe going for another video here. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Share the videos. Like the videos. All of that really helps us out. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next time on Amity Tracks.